Hey everyone, it is me, Lee Lewis, National Sales Head for Ameriben, the large group, large employer TPA for Blue Cross over most of the country. And I just got back from the Large Employer Benefits Conference in beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho, where over 30 employers with 2,000 to 50,000 employees came together to discuss leading-edge benefit strategy. Some of these are pretty sophisticated, so if you want more information, let's talk. Number 10 is eliminating hitchhikers from the plan. What most plans don't realize is that 3 to 5% of all their members are ineligible. Nucleus Research estimates that it costs $3,500 to the plan per year for each ineligible member. Usually we remove these people through a dependent eligibility audit where we look over documents, and it takes many hours and a ton of money in order to figure out who these people are to remove them. The new hack comes through the use of an online enrollment tool like a private exchange. By simply creating a requirement during enrollment for people to snap a photo of a birth certificate or a recent tax filing and upload it to prove their marital status or their age or their parentage, if it's for dependents, will allow us to eliminate about 3% of all membership from our plan who's not eligible. The financial impact is huge. Over $200,000 in savings for every 1,000 employees. Strategy number 9 is working with new incentives in disease management. As we know, it's difficult to incentivize members to engage with nurses, but many of the large employers are experimenting every year with new incentives. And a few that were successful, one was waiving deductibles on co-pays for prescription medication for those members who are in disease management who are staying in touch with their nurses, who are staying in compliance. Another CFO put in a plan where all membership had a $500 deductible, but if you were enrolled in disease management and failed to comply or engage with your nurse, after 2 months the deductible would raise. You'd be switched to a plan with a $2,500 deductible. And they were able to achieve 100% compliance. Strategy number 8, real quick, was around telemedicine. It's been rumbling that there might be, that telephonic telemedicine may be coming under attack, and so many employers are looking to video. There's a number of good video options, and they save so much money for members who use them. The challenge is getting members to adopt. So employers are heavily incented to try and help them to do so, and usually they do that by making it so that it's free. The problem is that most plans have a lot of consumer-driven healthcare, at least the forward-thinking plans, with higher deductibles or HSAs, which prevent you from paying first dollar cost. So, very simply, employers want to be able to cover telemedicine, but they're prevented from doing so because of the first dollar cost requirement. So the solution was that you could carve out telemedicine and make it a rider or a secondary benefit that is off to the side of the actual plan. By so doing, you can offer first dollar cost on telemedicine and make it available to all. All right, strategy number 7, increasing the number of procedures that require pre-certification. This seems like a natural idea to get more people to call in. You're gonna have more members calling in, or more members call in order to get pre-certs done. More providers do, and it gives nurses a chance to interact much more with members who are consuming healthcare. Okay, strategy number 6 is the second of 2 enrollment hacks, which is using behavioral economics to help members feel more comfortable buying a new technology or a new type of plan. Specifically, this has huge cost implication around high deductible plans. The problem most plan sponsors have is that when they want to introduce a new technology or a high deductible plan, they baby step into it by adding one option during enrollment. The problem is that when members see one option versus a host of things with which they're comfortable, they don't want to buy the new thing, and so enrollment tends to be very low. Research coming from Benefit Focus suggests that if you added 2 of the new technology or 2 of the high deductible or health savings account plan, as long as there's 2 options, people feel more comfortable with it because it doesn't seem as scary or different, and you'll see a 3x improvement in your adoption rate. Okay, great. Strategy number 5 is dealing with the exponential rise in high claims and the causes and ways to deal with them. Large claims are accelerating much faster than any other area of claim spend. This is due to 2 things. One is the removal of caps from ACA, and second is the fact that outlier provisions are being weakened in contracts. Now, what is an outlier provision? Essentially, any time that a certain threshold is reached during a course of treatment, like passing 45 days or going above $200,000. Whenever one of these thresholds is crossed, the regular contract negotiated rates are no longer applied. This means that what was maybe a $100,000 claim, once it crosses the certain threshold of the outlier, could quintuple into a $500,000 or more claim. It is a financial bomb that is within your plan, and your case managers probably don't know what they are because they're sort of buried in the network contracts between the providers and the network. So the solution to dealing with outlier provision bombs is simply to identify them and make sure that your case managers know how to spot them so that when they see a member reaching one of those thresholds, they can do whatever is possible to get them out of the system before that threshold is reached. Strategy number 4, very exciting, is dealing with narrow networks, but not the traditional kind, sort of a narrow network 2.0 that is a top-down strategy. Essentially, direct contracting narrow networks, or the usual narrow networks you hear about, have two major problems. One is that when contracting with one hospital who might be high-priced already, even a greater discount is going to leave you paying more than at many other alternatives. The second problem with the direct contract narrow network is that most hospitals suffer from some of the departments are really good, many are average, and then there's a few duds. When you direct contract with an entire system, you get the duds along with their stellar programs, which doesn't help your population if you have a disease state that falls in one of their weak areas. So along comes the leading vendor in this area is Imagine Health. What they do is they do an RFP across the entire market, where they stratify all the hospitals in terms, or providers in terms of quality first, and they eliminate the bottom half or the bottom 3/4 of those hospitals. This leaves you just the upper half or the upper quartile of systems. And then they rank each of those systems according to department. By ranking according to department, they're able then to eliminate the underperforming departments or the worst departments at each of these hospital systems, so that you are only left with the best hospitals and the best departments within those hospitals. The second small thing that they do in order to overcome the pricing problem is that they make it very transparent during the RFP where the average price is, and they require every system to get at least 20% below the average. So your outlier systems that are way too expensive, they might have to reduce price by 60%, whereas an already good performing system might just reduce by 5 or 10%. And this gets everyone onto parity and creates transparency in the market. Strategy number 3 is reimagining wellness. As we've seen over the past 2.5, 3 years, from 13 to 14 and on, wellness has been getting hammered in the media in terms of delivering an ROI. The sad truth is that everything from HBR, Harvard Business Review, Reuters, Bloomberg, Slate, Health Affairs, even RAND have published studies showing that it's mathematically impossible to get an ROI doing biometric screenings or the other types of usual wellness programs. But this trashing on wellness does not mean that it's not a good idea or something that we need to have in our populations. The way that we've been reimagining wellness is saying that, look, wellness is the only healthcare product that we buy regularly or even think about every day. Look at all the Fitbits and wellness apps and other types of technologies that have been placed on the open market. These don't require any engagement for people to buy. And secondly is looking at weight loss, also an area that people spend a lot of money, time, and attention on. People want to feel good and look great. So the idea has been, what if we take wellness and rather than having it be sticking needles into people and just looking at numbers and doing screens, what if we look at wellness as just something positive? We take the parts of wellness that people enjoy engaging in, and we can attach it like a locomotive to the other products that people historically haven't engaged in that much, such as dealing with telemedicine, second opinion programs, narrow networks, or whatever it might be. And by using technology to couple those together and attach one to the other, we can boost engagement. And the way to do that, there's a number of different new vendors that are coming out, and we'll talk about that a little later. Strategy number 2 is dealing with member hubs or online mobile member hubs. Different plans, especially in the large employer space, are getting completely fed up with the amount of complexity that are coming from all the different vendors they have. Whether it be wellness, second opinion, telemedicine, or transparency, or whatever it might be, it gets to be overwhelming both for the employer and for the members. So in order to take this complexity and make it simple, a number of new vendors have come into the fray with the likes of Jif, Kias, ClearCost. Castlight has also released a hub, all of which are making it easy for all of your point solutions to come into one simple application that is user-friendly and makes it easy for members to get what they need. Artificial intelligence coupled with this makes it so that only the vendors, ideally, that are suited to that particular member are those that are shown. This is a really exciting solution, and early research coming out of Jif, who is the market leader in this space, is showing that there has been an over 300% increase in the amount of usage on these different products, and secondly, that over 81% of individuals are actually going all the way through the enrollment of a new product. Strategy number one, last and most important, is what I would call a smart bottom-up narrow network. This is revolutionary, and it's the new dialogue that's coming out of Healthcare Blue Book. The idea that perhaps we need to reimagine the way we look at networks, that it shouldn't have to include negotiators and doctors and systems and lawyers in order to negotiate a top-down network that has a few extra points of discount. But rather, what if we keep a really broad, lots of choice kind of network like a Blue Cross or maybe a United, and then layered the transparency solution on top of it, like a Healthcare Blue Book that's going to show now quality scored green, yellow, red, and price scored green, yellow, red. And if we could create a plan that encourages members to actively just look at whatever procedure it is they're going to purchase and look for providers that fall in the green on quality, or the upper quartile, and green on price, which is also the upper quartile, that makes us into the top 10% of providers in the country. If we could get the market focused on those providers that are the intersection of value, we could change healthcare forever as we correct the system through a very rational market-based principle. It's a solution you can implement today. Healthcare Blue Book is like $2 PEPM for most plans, and it's something we can work on right now. Very exciting. That is all for the top 10. Again, I'm Lee Lewis. There's a ton of more information here, obviously, that we didn't get to. Reach out to me, would love to talk about it. And also let me know what I'm missing here. I know there's a lot of other technologies that may not have come up or that I may not have discussed. And I look forward to helping you change the world.